Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Grand Prix decks from Unlimited. So the first one I've got is the PDK deck that was part of the Grand Prix Unlimited, which is great. I really wanted to check it out because I had one, all the cards, and two, it looked pretty interesting, so I thought why not. Plus Water Volkers is still one of my favorite cards, especially because it's just amazing. So we'll get right into it and check it out. So first up we are against Haven, which is pretty common. I mean, Haven pops up here and there. We're going to be taking a few days to look at a few of the Grand Prix decks that I have cards for. In particular, we've got Haven up next for tomorrow, and I'm not sure where I'm going to go from there, but expect the next probably 3 to 4 days, just a few different of the top Grand Prix decks, because I really wanted to be able to cover some of those, and I think this will be a pretty common thing for all the Grand Prix. For decks that I do have cards to build, we will give them a go and see how they perform overall. So going with the Sea Globe, pretty normal. I did play the 1-2 because you do want to be fairly aggressive, and when you have Staircase, having a body out does give you extra value to begin with, so being able to throw it out on one really isn't too bad. And the draw is not a big deal in this deck for that turn. So we get another chance to play the White Worm. I'm not too worried. Like I said, you have plenty of cards, and when you have something like Staircase, you're restocking your value all the time. Fortunately, the Banish does suck, but at least it was drawn out on a low cost follower like that and not on our Prime Dragonkeeper later. So drawing the Aqua Nereid, I really wasn't worried about using the 2-1 either. I mean, you really just got to be as aggressive as you can with this deck, I found. That tends to give you the best results. Playing too cautiously will just end up you being dead for 3 to 4 turns without much of a play unless you just play things. Of course, we get the Fire Lizard, which is pretty okay, but we have already got the Dragon Sword, which will allow us to ramp up to 6, which will allow 7 to be viable next turn. Which will give us at least a couple of pings from Prime Dragonkeeper if we want them. But we get to go face for even more damage, which is great. Unlimited Dragon is pretty interesting, and PDK is definitely a deck that does pretty well. So now we have options. I mean, we're not too concerned, mainly because we've got basically a full board at this point, so ramping is probably the only thing we can really do that will be substantial. And go for as much damage as possible, so our Prime Dragonkeeper is going to be kept in hand just to kind of use against this Haven, especially if they clear this turn. Which they do. Themis Decree, clearing out our board, is going to also proc our Staircase, which is perfect. So that means we'll be on 9 for our Prime Dragonkeeper, which gives us some crazy value. Especially since we actually drew Dark Dragoon and Dragoon Scyther, which are a little bit better plays than playing the Prime Dragonkeeper now, because there isn't any ward that's going to block us out, and going face is going to be very easy. If I hadn't have drawn those, I would have went for the Prime Dragonkeeper play. But a pretty quick game overall. Now to follow on from that last match, we're up against Runecraft.
This one's for my family.
It's another one of those crafts that can be a little bit difficult. We do have our Dragoon 14 in our hand, which isn't too good in the starting hand, but also isn't bad, so when you've got other cards to use, sometimes it's worth keeping. In my case, going up against what I assume to be either D-Shift or Daria, I want it to be just a little more aggressive and avoid those turn 5, turn 6 floods. So just being able to get lower cost cards was going to be to my advantage. So we have our 2-drop, and we do end up drawing the Dark Dragoon again anyway, which, I mean, what can you do? Draw is a draw. It's pretty damn random. Not much you can do about that. So the Magic Missile clears out our 2-1. Not really a big concern. I mean, Dragon's Nest is great to have, but overall not the worst thing to just have go to your hand. I mean, it's going to be great later on. It's a draw and a heal, which is pretty perfect.
I've got to take a break.
And we've already ramped up to 4. Puts us ahead by a couple of points and gives us a chance to use the Staircase, which, with the amount of cards in our hand, is actually perfect. It will take us up to exactly 9 cards next turn, and we have a good chance of just playing our Dragoon out. Unless we get something even better. So there's an Ogler, another Insight, Wouldn't be surprised if they kill this Dragoon pretty quick, but we are going to get a fair bit of damage out of it first. Of course, Sybil getting it off that draw was just a little bit better. It does give us the heal, it gives us the ramp, which actually makes our Prime Dragon Keeper even better. So I really didn't want to take that risk in the end. Plus, knowing what Daria has, there's only one ward in the entire deck that can really screw us over. Everything else isn't too bad. Fortunately, the return on the Dragon's Nest did suck though. Although returning it's not a big deal just because we already at 20, so all we really lost there was the draw, which we can make up later.
All must come to an end.
So we're going to turn 8. Dragoon this time, mainly because I don't have a reason to play our Prime Dragon Keeper yet. And a Dragon Summoner, really just trying to go for a draw. Turn 9 will be pretty good if we need to use our Prime Dragon Keeper. If not, we also have the Dragoon Scyther and the Dark Dragoon again, which will be another big burst of damage. Especially since they did clear that. I really do enjoy playing PDK. I think it's just one of those decks that really shines for me when I get to play it. So we get to push our 7 damage to the face if we want to. Of course, Dragon's Nest I decided to go with anyway, mainly because Dragon Scyther I think will be decent next turn as well with the Prime Dragon Keeper. I mean, it probably would have been better to go for the Dragon Scyther, but knowing what Daria has, their board floods can be absolutely decimating, so it's a really tough decision on where you play Dragoon. I mean, it would have got us 2 more damage to their face, but would that 2 damage really have made a big enough difference for Prime Dragon Keeper when we can only ping at most 4 times to the face anyway, which still would have left them on 2 health. And unless we drew another 1-drop, we wouldn't have been able to do enough with our Prime Dragon Keeper and Dragon Scyther anyway. We would have had to have drawn another Dragon Scyther and Prime Dragon Keeper. Luckily our 5-1 gets to stay up. I was expecting a second Chimera. Fortunately that wasn't the case, which means we well and truly had lethal at this point.
Care to touch? Care to touch?
Plus our Prime Dragon Keeper gets to go down onto the board, which is always good. So way more than enough damage.
Care to touch?
Time to head home.
Woo! You got the stuff.
If it wasn't for that, we could have at least cleared both of these, which would have been fine as well, but not bad overall. So this video was a shorter one, probably a few final notes for this PDK deck. Honestly, I can't find any major fault with it. Sure, there probably was a few better plays I could have made during those games, mainly just making my ordering a little bit better so that I could get the optimal amount of damage per turn, which probably would have helped long term. But I was actually still quite happy with how it turned out, so if you did enjoy this video, hit that like button and subscribe. You'll find the deck list in the description below, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.